Welcome to Fast Math Solutions on Maths with EJD. In this video, I'll be solving the shortest route problem. As you can see, we have, what you can call 9 cities, and then, of course, feel free to call the cities whatever you like, but I've labeled them A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. And the question is we want to find the shortest route, find the shortest route from A to I. Of course, in addition to that, we also uh want to find the shortest distance. The shortest distance. So it's more like you want to make a trip from you want to make a trip from A to I, and you want to, you have many options, so many options to take, right? So you just want to you want to pick the very best of the routes you can take that will save your time. So of course it's a kind of optimization problem. So let's do that. Let's go for that. Okay, I'll just use what I have here so I just don't waste any time at all. So let's go for this. Now, since you're looking for the shortest route, right, it's always good you start from, so we are starting from A and we are going to I. Of course, you can also see this as a kind of logistic problem that you want to move goods from A to I, making sure that you cover as short a distance as possible. So, what you can do here is to just start from A. Of course, from A to A is 0. So you can just mark that as your starting point. So you shade that, as you start out. Then the next thing is from that A, where can you go such that the distance is short? So you see from A, you can go to B. So from A to B, that is 45. Let's say if it is 45 kilometers or 45. Yeah, let's assume it is 45 kilometers. So from A to B is 45 kilometers. So to get to A from B, that's 45 kilometers. You can also go straight from A to E, and that is 42 kilometers. So I write 42A, meaning that coming from A to E, you go 42 kilometers. Now, where else can you go from A? It looks like there's no other direct place you can go from A. So these are the two options you have. So you pick the shorter distance of these two, and that is obviously E because E is just 42 kilometers from A compared to the 45 kilometers that B is from A. So there now you have, okay, let's look at, okay, well, we can't even decide the route yet, right? But we're just seeing the order of shading, order of course, each of those points A, they are called vertices, and the distances are called edges, because it's a network kind of thing, right? So we have order of, or you can call them nodes too. So let's say order of vertices shading. Okay. Now the shading is not the root, right? But it will finally lead us to the root. So we shaded A first and we go on to E next. Okay. Then now that you've shaded E, the next thing you want to do is from E, what are the possible places you can go to? So you know that you can go from E to B. So if you go from E to B is 85 kilometers. But at the end of the day, you want to see the distance of wherever you are at from A. So if you go from A to B via E, it means you would have covered 42 plus 85 kilometers. This 42 plus this 45, that'll be 127 kilometers. But since 127 kilometers is bigger than the 45 kilometer that B is from A already, then you won't bother about that. So that is okay. Well, I could just write that, right? So that'll be 127 kilometers if you're coming from E. But because it's bigger than what was there before, you can cross it out because it's not necessary. So because we pick the shorter distance or the shortest distance of all possible distances. Okay, so that's E to B. You can also go from E to G. If you go from E to G, right? From E to G is 41 kilometers. But if you want the distance of G from A via E would be 42 plus 41. This 42 that is here now, plus 41 that is between E and G. So that means you'll be having 83, 83 kilometers via E now. So to get to A from G via E, it will be 83 kilometers from A. Okay. So that's one possibility. Another possibility is that you can move from E to D. So if you move from E to D, so from E to D, the distance is 47 kilometers. But if you want to look at it from A, that'll be 42 plus 47, and that'll be 89, 89 kilometers if you move from A to D via E. But then, since B is already marked, so you can as well, and we already have D in contention, so you can look at other distances, uh, you know, coming from B now, because B is already, although we have not shaded B, right? But B is already in contention, so we can also look at that. So from B to D now, so you have 40 kilometers, but if you want to look at it from A, so that's 45 plus 40, that's 85. So you can say that is 85 kilometers from A to D via B. Okay. Since this 85 is smaller than 89 that was there, so you can cross out that 89. So 85 via kilometers from A to D via B is now what holds. Then what are the other options we have? Okay. We can move from E to B, we can move from E to D, we can move from E to G, and we have done all of that. And we have settled for the shortest of the distances. So you see, we have E to B is you have E to B to be 45. Okay, sorry. E to B is 127. So we cannot afford, we can't go for that now. We go because E to B would be 127 kilometers. So that's cancelled. So you now look at the possible things that are left. So you have 85B and 83E. So you go for the shorter of the two. And that's obviously G because it's 83 kilometers from A via E compared to 85 kilometers from B via from A via D, from A to D via B, right? So we go for G. So the next thing is we shade G. Okay. Then after shading G, then you now consider all the other options you have left. So to you can move from G to D, for instance. If you move from G to D, that's 58 plus 83, and that's like 141. And that's a lot. So you don't bother yourself because from D at B already, we already have 85. So 141 will be bigger than is it one? Yeah, 141 is already bigger than 85, so you don't care about that. Then another, where else can you go? From G to H, you can move from G to H. So from G to H, now you have 83 plus 52, and that will be 135. That's 135. So if you that's 135 is the total distance from A to H via G. So via G. So you have 135 like that. Then you can move from G to F. Okay, you can move from G to F. So moving from G to F now, you have 83 plus 20. That is 1, that is 103. That will be G to F, that's 103 via G. Okay. Then where else can you move to? Of course, G to D doesn't make sense because that'll be okay. Maybe I should just try that. 83 plus 58, that's 141. So that's G to D. That's 141 via G to D. So that's bigger than what is already there. So you can cross that out. It's not necessary. So where else can we go from G? So we can go from G to D, we can go from G to H, we can go from G to F. And going from G to D is it makes it 141 from A to D via G. So we cross that out because it's bigger than 85B that we already chose. G to F is 103 via G, fine. G to H is 135. From A to H via G, we have that also. So, I mean, those are the possible things you have. So you can automatically just choose the lesser of the two. And that is 103, right? So you can go for 103. So that's the next part you shade. So from G, you shade F. So this is about just shading now. Then from F now, from F, you can look at the possible places you can go to. What are the possible places you can go to from F? So from F, you can go back to C, for instance. But of course, you can see from B to C, from B to C, it's like you have okay, I mean now from F to C rather, it has to be from F to C. From F to C, you have 103 plus 25, and that will be like 128, 128 from A to C via F. Okay. Of course, you can be sure that's not even the list. So if you move from, then you can move from D, you can move from D to C again. You can move from D to C. Let's check that. From D to C now you have at D already, you already have this 85. Okay. 85 plus 48, that's 133. So that'll be like 133, 133 from A to C via D. So that's 133 via D, which is bigger than what we have there. So that cancels out. Then what else can we do? We can move from B to C. Uh, would that be necessary? From moving from B to C. Um, okay. From B to C, via F. Okay, I mean, looks like we have left that part, right? We have left. Because I mean, we are talking about moving from F to C, actually, from F to C. So I mean, what we have is 128F, so that's out of contention already. So we can move from F to G. So if you move from F to G, this is actually 103 plus 52, and that is 155 via F. Okay. So another movement you can make is from F to H. So that is 31 plus 103, and that will be 134 via F. 134 via F is shorter than the G that was there. So 135G cancels out. Okay. So the next thing you can have now, since H is already reached, so you can as well reach H from I. So if you reach H from I, so that will be 19 plus, that'll be 134 plus 19. And that will be like 153 via H. Okay. 153 from A to I via H. So since 153 is smaller than 155 that was there, so that cancels out. So with this, you have done all the possible reaching that is possible. So you can just pick, okay, so from F now, after 103, 134 is smaller than 153. So you shade H next. So you have this goes to H. Then from H now, automatically you just go to I. Our journey is from A to I. So I is the next thing you shade. So you shade I, and that's what you have. So now the issue is, what's the shortest distance from A to I? So we have to trace that out. So we have seen that the dominant solution is 153 from A to I, and that has to be via H. So you can trace it back from I to H. This is like from I to H. Okay. So 153 is what we get via H. So from H now, so you see from what you have here, so this is via F. So it means you trace it back to F. Okay. And then when you get to F, so you can see it's what is standing there is 103 via G. So you trace it back to G. Okay. So from G, the dominant value is 83E. So it means that G has to be reached from E like that. Then after E now, so you have 42A. That means you trace it back to A. So in that case now, you can see that so the shortest route, the shortest route is A to E to that's A to E to G, A to E to G to F. Then after F, we have H to I. So this is the shortest route. So um to compute the shortest distance, the shortest distance, to compute the shortest distance. So you just follow that route, right? So you have A to E to G to F to H to I. Okay. Well, I mean, there's no point, right? Just go to that final place, that I, and that is 153. So the shortest distance is simply 153 kilometers if we are talking about kilometers. So you just have 153 kilometers. So we can just conclude that therefore the shortest route is 153 kilometers following, oh sorry, the shortest distance is 153 kilometers following the routes or the route A to E to G to F to H to I. And that's it. So with this, we come to the end of this very interesting question. If you have not subscribed to this channel, be sure to do that. And hit the notification bell so you can always get alerted so that you can I mean, each time a new video is released, then comment, let me know if there's a problem you'd like me to solve like this, or if there's a topic you'd like me to teach. Then don't also forget to share and like and share so that more people can have access to this great learning. Till I come your way again, keep doing the best. Bye.